Good morning, everyone. Stupid controller. Happy Sunday morning, everybody. So, gave Anna a call, told her I was coming on. I texted Kay, I wanted her to rest, so hopefully she'll be in. She needs her rest. She got some help now. She doesn't have to overdo it. Come whenever she can. And Tim. Paul. Yeah, I wrote on my headline there, description there, saying, I always change my mind. But today is Sunday, and I don't have nothing to do, and I got everything done. Chico's sleeping. It's cold outside, snowing. Tracy? Okay. Happy New Year. What happened to those Niners last night? That was terrible. Those stupid Niners. I thought they were going to win. The Buffalo game was robbed. Yeah, they're like, funny, you text me, oh, wrong person. So I guess I better let Kay know that you're in chat. She want to hear from you. A lot of stuff's coming out. A lot of stuff. Okay, I was just about to text you. I didn't know if you were on the. Guess who's above you? Okay, I wish you stay longer. I got a lot of good stuff again. I'll be back on tonight at 6. I'm going to do 2 hours. I told Kay I wasn't going to do it, but I change my mind all the time. I just love doing my job. Yeah, Paul, we had a couple videos I played yesterday about that silver. I don't know if you saw it. Oh, there's a clip out. They're saying the National Guard is on the highway heading to Minnesota. There's a clip I'll share here.
Spawned manifold terror.
Okay. Let's start off with a 5-minute one with Trump and the funny video one. So, did I get it to Carol? I think I sent it to Carol. Yeah. Pretty sure she got one. All right. You heard me, Carol. Okay, hopefully Lucia will be in. Kimberly's been busy. Probably haven't seen Dragonfly. Haven't been in a while either. So, okay, guess where? I think Nick Shirley was in Michigan. So I got 6 short clips with Nick Shirley. Couple of them with his mom. Show a photo shot here on one photo. Make the earth great again. Tracy, we had a silver video. Ann said the one I played last two. Is that Chinese guy supposed to be good? I don't know if that one's supposed to be good or not. And Kay out of Texas, we got. Come on. Texas report over $1 billion in hospital costs. Legal aliens. I don't know if you read about that. What do you? Oh, YouTube is starting to do that. Tracy wasn't or Kay was saying that a while back. They got numbers, and I don't know why they're doing that. Kay might know, somebody. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Got a lot of stuff to go through. Linda, we'll be doing 2 shows, 2 hours. Got enough energy. Nothing's on today. All my teams played yesterday. So we will get started. How could I get logged in again?
A woman's body. But then I was born.
Hey, I got one, Mr. President.
Go ahead, Elon.
If genitals don't define gender, why does cutting them off affirm it?
So I can't have an opinion on abortion because I don't have uterus, but I can be a woman without one? Liberals want to raise the federal minimum wage, but they also want to pay low wages to illegal immigrants to come here and work the fields. To anybody that I offended in 2025, try to make some improvements on yourself. So I don't offend you in 2026. That will be $3, ma'am.
What? I thought Mamdani was going to make public transportation free.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's the free transportation you're looking for.
Oh, that's so cool. We are finally becoming a Muslim state. Yay!
By the way, did you notice that Zohran Mamdani commented on Israel and Gaza 1,000 times, hasn't said one word about Iran? Also, why the Muslims aren't out there protesting for their people? Why is it a bunch of liberal whiteys protesting for someone that hates them? Approximately 85% of the world's refugees are Muslims, but they do not seek asylum in the 56 Muslim countries. They only seek asylum in non-Muslim countries. But why? Did you know that Epstein's youngest victim was still 6 years older than Muhammad's youngest wife? Did you also know that during Ramadan, 40% Muslims claim to have gained weight. Crazy to gain weight while fasting, right? The only country in all of Europe that has never had a terrorist attack is Poland. I'll let you look into why that is.
Yo, what'd you get arrested for?
Because I had too much oil.
Me too, bro.
Okay.
You want to know what my favorite food is?
What?
Maduros.
Cabron? What are you talking about, Diddy? Hey, Senor Trump, let me out.
Yes, let him go. You can't do that.
So, you upset because Venezuelans might put up pictures of me on their fridge every year in honor of their freedom?
No, you can't just start military operations without Congress, and you definitely can't arrest another country's president.
Look, Obama killed Osama, no congressional approval. Obama invaded Libya. The operation killed Gaddafi, no approval. Biden killed the al-Qaeda leader in 2022, no congressional approval. And I swoop in and brings the man alive back to the U.S. Democrats go crazy. You guys need to stop being absolute hypocrites.
Whatever. You are a dictator. Free Maduro. Free Maduro.
Let's be honest, before the arrest, most liberals didn't even know who Nicolas Maduro was.
Arresting a sitting president violates international law.
Yeah, only if that person is recognized as head of state. And U.S. doesn't recognize Maduro as a legitimate
This is
president
kinda
because
good.
he's not. He's a
Funny.
dictator. Head of immunity isn't automatic. It depends on recognition, not self-declaration.
I don't care. Free Maduro.
Si, Senor Trump, free me.
By the way, where's your Venezuelan flag, though? 9 months ago, Ukraine flags. 8 months ago, Palestine flags. 6 months ago, Iranian flags. And now Venezuela flags everywhere. So you liberals stand for every country except the United States.
What else?
Maybe unborn babies should disguise themselves as death row inmates, so liberals will care about their right to live. Just a quick reminder, Mother's Day is for moms, not for men in dress. Your day is April 1st. As of this morning, there are 8,229,915,162 people on planet Earth. I was just curious, how many of those people were given birth to by a man? Hey guys, before we continue, thanks for all the love and support on TikTok. Apparently our videos keep mysteriously disappearing. No reason given. Must be magic, or maybe them liberals are doing mass reporting on our account. Anyway, if you support us, subscribe to our new YouTube channel for more contents, the link in bio. And don't forget to like, share, and repost this account. You legends. Make America great again. How come when white people move somewhere, it's called colonization? But when other race move somewhere, it's called cultural enrichment.
Minute left.
If we move out of the neighborhood, that's white flight, and that's racist. But if we move into the neighborhood, that's gentrification, and that's also racist. I'm just going to ask this one more time. Why do we only judge white people for owning slaves when every culture had them? If 20 million illegal immigrants can help our economy, why didn't they help their economy? Wait, it costs for $150 billion to take care of illegal immigrants, yet liberals say $10 billion is too much to build a wall? If requiring ID is racist, is boarding a plane, driving a car, and requiring ID for alcohol also racist? So, in America, if you cheat to get into college, you can go to jail. But if you cheat to get into the United States, you get free college. If America is the most racist country in the world, why does everybody want to move here? If 20 million illegal immigrants can help our economy, why didn't they help their economy? Wait, it costs for $150 billion to take care of illegal immigrants, yet liberals say $10 billion is too much to build a wall? If requiring ID is racist, is boarding a plane, driving a car, and requiring ID for alcohol also racist? So, in America, if you cheat to get into college, you can go to jail. But if you cheat to get into the United States, you get free college. If America is the most racist country in the world, why does everybody want to move here?
How was that one to start off with? 5 minutes.
Dominion voter systems and Edison Research were using an unencrypted VPN with login credentials that were easily accessible and used by foreign adversaries to monitor and manipulate votes. The IP addresses into the Edison Research host servers went in both directions, meaning that not only were China and Iran and other countries accessing the servers, but also Edison Research was communicating back to these adversaries. The claims that Dominion voting machines were not connected to the internet are completely false. Cybersecurity experts have followed the communication of the data from Dominion voting servers and Edison Research to foreign countries. A simple web search will uncover that DominionVotingSystems.com is registered to a company in Hunan, China. 3 of the 7 board members of UBS Securities are Chinese nationals. That company owns Staple Street Capital, which in turn owns Dominion. On top of that, the Dominion software is licensed from Smartmatic, which is a Venezuelan-owned and controlled company, and we're all familiar with how their elections go. Furthermore, forensic audits of the machines reveal significant errors. Although the mainstream media and politicians are saying that it's dangerous misinformation that Dominion voting systems are unsecure, this was the very message that several left-leaning news sources were claiming less than a year ago. NBC News and PBS found out just how easy it is to hack voting machines or cast fake votes.
Important to know that Georgia just spent over 100, or is about to spend over $100 million on a contract with Dominion to provide image cast hardware to the state in time for the for the next primaries and for the 2020 election. And yet here these kids were who had opened it up. They said, look, you can pop the front off of it, and here's a port you can get into right here. That's easy. You know, all kinds of stuff that you could certainly do within 6 minutes behind a curtain, much less if you had extra time, because any of these were connected to the web, as we discovered a couple of days before. So many of them are.
Despite opposition and attacks, election security experts were able to audit Dominion voting machines in Antrim County, Michigan, revealing unusually high error and adjudication rates. What does that mean? According to the report, Dominion voting systems is intentionally designed with inherent errors to create systemic fraud and influence election results. Ballot errors are sent to adjudication, which means the vote can be decided by an election worker where there is no oversight, no transparency, and no audit trail.
We've scanned 113,130 as of moments ago. We've adjudicated 106,000 plus of those.
Experts identified an error rate of 68.05%, which is far above the Federal Election Commission guidelines of 0.0008%, or 1 in 250,000. Although vote adjudication logs are available for prior election years, suspiciously, all the logs for the 2020 cycle were missing. Moreover, all security logs prior to 11:03 p.m. on November 4th are also missing. If that's not enough, the election event designer log shows that the Dominion image cast precinct cards were reprogrammed on October 23rd and again on November 5th, which violates the Help America Vote Act, which includes a 90-day safe harbor period that prohibits changes to election systems, registries, hardware, and software updates without undergoing recertification. Even if skeptics and critics persist that these issues are inconsequential, they should be willing for forensic audits to take place for transparency, yet they have viciously attacked attempts to review logs. Why is that if there's nothing to hide? Election officials in Maricopa County, Arizona have even ignored subpoenas for release of election data and Dominion machine audits until after the inauguration. Then there's the mass influx of unsolicited mail-in ballots. The key word is unsolicited. In other words, people receiving ballots they never asked for. Politicians use the coronavirus to push mass mail-in ballots and extending the time to receive those ballots till many days after the election. There are many reports of people who voted in person also receiving multiple unsolicited ballots in the mail. People who did not send in a mail-in ballot denied in-person voting because they were told they had voted already by mail when they hadn't. This opened up chaos in the system and uncertainty as to who actually voted. Additionally, signature verification requirements were slackened in many states, adding even more uncertainty. In fact, the Pennsylvania Secretary of State unilaterally removed legislative signature requirements for mail-in ballots. More than 1,000 signed affidavits have been given by poll workers who have witnessed illegal activities, non-equal treatment of Republican poll watchers, counting ballots in locations with no poll watchers not permitted close enough to see the counting process, shredding ballots, garbage bags full of ballots Trump, entire boxes of hundreds of supposedly mail-in ballots that have no folds, indicating they were never actually mailed by anyone. The list goes on and on.
How was that one? Breaking news. This has been spotted rolling into the party.
I don't know. Gotta get next to it and find out.
Hey, Lucy. I changed my mind again. We just started it up. I did a few short ones. We got a lot of short ones. No, Lucy, more snow. So, this next one's 4 minutes.
Can't be trusted. So now, Carrie Lake, Katie Zachariah joining us now. Ladies, good to see you on a Friday night. Carrie, I'm going to start with that breaking news. CBS reporting DOJ investigating
Sounds
Walls
good.
and
Be
Fry
safe.
conspiracy
Careful.
to impede federal immigration agents. Washington Post says subpoenas have been issued. How deserved is this in your estimation?
I think it's pretty obvious. It's well deserved. We've seen the, Nick Shirley video where he lays out a fraction of what's been happening in Minnesota. This has been happening for decades, and I'm not going to be satisfied until I see people dragged out of their home at 2 a.m. in their underwear. Actually, I don't think I want to see Tim Walz in his underwear, but I want to see some people dragged out in handcuffs. And these are crimes that deserve it. I heard some criticism today of Minnesota nice, and this is kind of the reputation the folks in the Midwest, Minnesota, Iowa nice. You probably heard that. I used to live in Minnesota in the late 80s. This is before they flooded the zone with hundreds of thousands of refugees from Somalia. And yes, the people of Minnesota are kind-hearted. I don't want to see people have to lose that beautiful American spirit, but they shouldn't be abused by their elected officials, some of whom probably weren't really elected after all. And until we see people locked up for these kind of fraud crimes and corruption crimes, it's going to continue. And I pray for the people of Minnesota that they get some justice.
Katie, your thoughts on subpoenas for Walls and Fry and what we've seen this week?
Absolutely. I agree completely with Carrie Lake. There's fundamental crimes that these people have committed, these leaders of this state and that county. Look, I also like President Trump's idea about the Insurrection Act. It suspends what's called the Pase Comitatus Act, which is essentially that you can't deploy military. And the Supreme Court ruled against him on the Donald Trump v. Illinois, and to not have the National Guard support local police and then have them support ICE as well, Rob. So if you aren't bringing subpoenas and charges against them, President Trump is well within his authority because he has to protect those ICE agents. Had the National Guard been able to provide extra support and he had this full permission to use this force, we wouldn't have this civilian interaction because they would have backup. But now they're really forced to be on their own without the support of local law enforcement. So President Trump, I know he's considering the midterm elections, but I also think way more people are in favor of these deportations than like the CNN polls suggest.
Interesting stuff. But what a week it's been. Let's see what the weekend brings. Ladies, good to see you both. Carrie Lake, Katie Zachariah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that was a short with Carrie Lake. Didn't know who that lady was. Excuse me. I can't remember if I showed this photo here or this statement here. Come on. There we go. Fundraiser for the Hero Ice. They're raising over $1 million. Oh. This is when you're 18 years old. $18 there. You too, Linda. So the first one, we're going to do 4 short ones from Colorado. I don't think I did anything from Colorado yet. I got rating from there. I don't know if I remember playing this or not.
Prayer time. This is against my religious freedom, just saying. Welcome to Greeley, Colorado, located in Weld County, with strong agricultural roots and right-leaning views. 60% of the population voted for Donald Trump in the last election. Behind me is the JBS meat processing plant, and they were the single largest donor to the Trump administration during his inauguration of $5 million. Yet their relationship with the Trump administration is complex. This gets wild because 80 to 90% of their workforce are immigrants, mainly refugees and migrants from Somalia and East Africa. Recently, the Somali people are replacing the Haitians who replaced the Latinos who were deported in 2008. The workers' relationships here are absolutely insane. About 20% of them are Somalis, and in 2023 to 2024, they hired more than 1,000 Haitian workers. But you guys have to hear about these insane lawsuits.
And a new video just came out about Black Swan event. The one that you liked, that guy. Can you look at it and let me know? We should play it or not. I just sent it.
The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission filed a lawsuit against JBS in 2010, claiming discrimination against the Muslims. It is crazy that some of the employees were accused of throwing bones at the Somali Muslim workers and refusing to allow them to have their prayer time, and even turning off the water during Ramadan. And there was also apparently vandalism in the bathrooms that would say F Somalis or Somalis are disgusting. It's not funny. This totally worked out in the Muslims' favor, as they ended in a $5.5 million settlement. That is about $18,000 per person. Would you guys take $18,000 for somebody to call you disgusting and have a couple of cow bones thrown at you? I think so. It sounds kind of fun. It sounds like a game of dodgeball, actually. But things get even crazier because now they get their prayer time 5 times a day in dedicated places, 5 to 10 minutes each. So it sounds like the Somalis get it really good here. They get paid from these discrimination lawsuits, but listen to how they have treated the Haitian workers. Behind me, you will see that a truck is passing by filled with cows. You're not going to believe how many cows they process and how hard they make these Haitian workers work. In 2023 to 2024, a bunch of Haitians were receiving videos on their algorithm telling them that this place was hiring and that they did not have to speak English and they would receive free housing and just great benefits. great pay.
This
But when
lady's pretty
they
good.
got here, they realized that they were being crammed into a tiny hotel that we are going to go to in just a second. And also at one point, a supervisor told the Somali people that the Haitians would replace them because they don't require prayer breaks and bathroom breaks. But it sounds like they took that really far, and then they were not allowing the Haitians to go to the bathroom. They were peeing themselves on the production line. It sounds like it became known here that the Haitians were way more productive and had way lower expectations. So the free housing thing was just a complete scam. They would put 100 people in 17 rooms in this really dainty motel that we are about to go to. My understanding is that this lawsuit, the Haitians Pierre versus JPS, is still ongoing. It was filed in 2023. And they're still waiting to settle everything. Yet the Haitians who are filing it are here on TPS. Many of their workers are here on the temporary protected status. And yet that is going to the Libra in the fall.
That was part one.
May 26th this year at midnight. Hello, how are you? Do you work here?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
Are you the new people?
No, I'm a YouTuber. I'm beautiful. So maybe what we should do is you should subscribe and we can come back here on February 4th to see what it looks like. Because as we were pulling up, there was an insane amount of people. They hire 3,000 people, and they recently had a $50 million expansion. So this is a great representation of big agriculture and companies utilizing basically slave labor. And it was so bizarre. This place has also received a lawsuit of using child labor, people as young as 13 years old. I think that they were having them clean overnight. And apparently AI tells me that it is not bizarre for them to have a tunnel, but that just seems weird to me because this is a company that in some ways is being accused of human trafficking, bringing these Haitians here, promising them a bunch of things, and then they don't actually get those things. And so it was a little bit strange to know that and then pull up here and see all of these workers just walking down these stairs and disappearing. And we were like, where are they going? And then my mom was like, oh, look at the other side of the road.
Oh, that's what they're doing. Angie, look, right?
Oh, that's their parking lot? Oh, yeah. So
So they
weird.
go under.
So they're either coming in or exiting from over here, going under the road, and then coming up or in from the other side. Why did they put a tunnel instead of a bridge?
It'd be cheaper.
Really?
I think so.
They are coming back up through this security checkpoint here into this parking lot. So I am going to go to that security and see if I am able to access that tunnel. As we were driving up to the JBS factory, you will notice that many semi trucks are waiting alongside of the road, filled with cows that we eat. They process 140 cows per hour and try to complete 6,000 cows per day and want to raise that number. And to achieve that, they were denying their workforce bathroom breaks while the Muslims are able to get prayer breaks 5 times a day. Right now we are standing in a parking lot and we're going to try to pass over Highway 85 to the plant. And I know that you're not allowed to enter there because when I did, a security person approached me immediately, and I think that I'm not going to be able to pass this at all, but we can try. We can get a thumbnail shot with the JBS logo. We're flipping into selfie mode because I think we're probably going to talk to somebody soon. So they have a visitor center here. Here it has a sign. It kind of looks like a border checkpoint, and it has a sign that says entrance, and there's quite a lot of space here for lines, and they have a spot here for security and ADA access only. Hello, how are you? I'm just, I won't record you. I'm just making a tour documentary thing for my YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, you guys
Yeah.
can record on the facility.
Oh, okay. I understand. I want to understand, like, at what point do you go under? I once read a book called The Like Switch that you kind of hang out in the area first and then people get used to you, but don't want to sit around forever. Hi, I was just wondering what you do here.
I work here. What do you want to know?
How do you kill a cow?
I know. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, I am working another part of the plant.
Oh, like packaging?
And fabrications. This is not clean.
Oh, okay. Would you be so kind to share with me what you do at this plant?
I'm a assistant superintendent and a FEBI.
What's that?
Assistant super.
That is going to end.
Okay, one more, part 4. She's pretty good.
See, they are completely empty now. And so Haitians are still working there, but I am wondering if they are at work right now. And also, it's pretty interesting that the cars in that parking lot were very nice. To some extent, it could be a great opportunity to come to the United States and work jobs that maybe Americans don't want to do. But at the same time, it also seems like we have such a bad homeless crisis that it would be good for those people to get into some type of job, even if it's not the most luxurious thing. It could still be a way for them to get housing and get paid. We are going to see if they would be willing to talk to us. It says, welcome to the hotel. Their check-in is from 3 to 6 and trespassers will be prosecuted. So I'm just going to, we're being recorded. Doorbell cameras are really great now. I recommend everybody gets one because they really help the security of your house or businesses. So we'll see if anybody is here. Oh, it looks empty. It is fascinating that we are in such a red place. Colorado is a place where the city and upwards is blue, but everything else is red. Yet with these migrants coming, obviously somebody like Biden is going to favor them more. So there is a sign here that says, the big, beautiful bill. You make under $55,000, you pay more. And they have a picture of a worker just in the fetal position crying because actually the reason for that is probably because some migrant took his job. And then it says, while the top 0.1% get $390,000 a year. Wait, what do you mean they just get 390? Like that's how much they make? They get to keep all of that. They still pay taxes. What do you mean they just get? I don't really understand that sign. But again, this is a massive, massive plant that is killing many, many, many cows. The liberals and the vegetarians are probably so angry about this. But to show you guys how massive it is, I am going to take up the drone to the skies. Let's do it. It's in an authorization zone.
Oh.
Is there an airport around here? I wonder how many cattle they have per...
Yeah, I don't know. You have to ask, find that out too. But then if I go up this hill...
Where were you at?
The drone can go 30 miles per hour. So the Wells County Airport was over there. So we drove a little bit far away so I can get my bug eyes. And this is a first person view drone. So I can see what my drone is seeing. And we're going to see how close I can get to the factory. The most important thing about flying a drone is to click the record button. It's really devastating when you don't do that. Let's go, boys and girls.
Okay, there it goes.
What? Man, what is that wire? Where does that wire go? Red country, baby. Look at the pink clouds, guys. Whoa, we're spinning in the sky. Oh my gosh, that makes me really dizzy. But I'm just wondering, how far am I from the factory, Mom?
Far.
Really?
Far, honey, because we had to drive up.
Oh my goodness.
I don't think you're going to get it, sweetheart.
Okay, change of plans. We're going to investigate whatever this is. What are those?
Those are geese.
Not geese. They're metal circles.
You're
They're
down.
Cylinders.
Oh, you're way down there then by the factories.
I don't know if I'm going to make it. We're really far away.
Honey, we're very, very far from them.
Are you serious?
Yes. Because I haven't
How many
got-
feet?
Maybe it's not feet. Right?
4,000?
Miles.
We just need to have more stamina. We are in a relentless pursuit to get drone footage of Somalia. I kind of just want to leave the drone there and then go pick it up.
No, we can't drive back there, Angie.
Why?
We cannot drive back there. I'm not going to drive back there. Just bring the thing back and let's go.
Okay.
Because the worker is back there or something. I'm not driving back there.
Okay, well, let's just see what this is. This is hay. That is what hay looks like, guys. Very fascinating. To home we go, or else my mom is going to ground me.
We're just too far from that building.
I'm going to be passing that little... What do those metal things hold, do you know?
It used to be barley or corn.
To feed the cows?
I think probably trucks used to come through here to load up their trucks. They're probably grain or corn.
I wonder if they get more money if the cows are like fat.
Well, yeah, they fatten up the cow, don't they, with hormones? That's why we're so fat ourselves. He's right here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was looking way down there. Oh, here he is. Hello.
Oh, he said it like it's like a dog. These rooms did not have.
Okay, so that was a good report out of Colorado. I'm gonna do the first video. I think it's in California, I think. And the Nick Shirley video. So I got 6 clips, short ones.
That will make every taxpayer pissed. 18% of the entire nation's home health care billing is coming out of Los Angeles County. And it's not because Californians are sicker. It's because organized crime has turned healthcare fraud into a $4.3 billion industry.
And what we have witnessed is a 7-fold increase in hospice in LA County.
And Dr. Oz said it's not because people are dying more. It's because fraudsters are cold calling healthy people and enrolling them in end-of-life care without their knowledge.
California-based healthcare system Kaiser Permanente
This is a big story also.
$556 million to 2 whistleblowers. Accusations that Kaiser exaggerated how sick patients were and to try to get more money from the government.
Trump and Oz aren't just investigating it. They're launching the Fraud Tax Project to go after these criminals using both healthcare fraud charges and tax evasion. Because when you steal from Medicare, you're also not paying taxes on the stolen money. It's a 2-for-1 prosecution strategy that's about to destroy the entire criminal ecosystem. What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. While Democrats were busy protecting illegal aliens and running interference on fraud schemes in Minnesota, Trump's team has been quietly building the biggest healthcare fraud takedown in American history. Let me start with the number that should be physically impossible here. 112 different licensed hospital agencies, all registered to a single address, one single address, 112 separate licensed hospice companies operating out of one building. It is definitely not a coincidence. That's not poor record keeping. That's an industrial fraud operation where criminals were spinning up shell companies faster than regulators can shut them down.
Dr. Oz says over $1.3 billion in federal funding was improperly spent on non-emergency care for people in the country illegally. Now he is asking why more hasn't been done to stop them.
It's not hard to actually go and visit these places if you want to.
And this explosion happened just shortly after the C-19 pandemic, when the pandemic created chaos in healthcare oversight and organized crime saw an opportunity. They started registering companies, getting Medicare billing numbers, and immediately began submitting fraudulent claims. By the time regulators caught on to this, these operations had already stole millions of dollars and moved on to the next shell company. The California state auditor didn't just find a few bad actors. They found a systematic colonization of the hospice industry by criminal organizations. And the buildings in Van Nuys, it was probably just an office suite where somebody collected mail for the 112 different fake companies. These aren't just quote unquote paper companies. The fraudsters were mining patient data, finding people with Medicare and enrolling them without their consent.
Cold call you and say, yes, you have an illness. We think it might be one that might benefit from us. Come on in. The patients don't realize they're signing up for hospice.
Dr. Oz pointed out something that should be obvious, but apparently needs to be said. There are not 7 times more deaths in LA County than there were in 5 years. The population just didn't suddenly become terminally ill. Cancer rates didn't just all of a sudden increase. People are not dying faster. So why did hospice enrollment increase 7 times? Because scammers figured out that hospice care was an absolute cash cow. Medicare pays hospice providers a daily rate for every patient enrolled, whether you receive care or you don't receive care. So if you can enroll 100 healthy people and claim that they're all dying, you get paid every single day for patients who didn't need any services.
Everyone seems to live. when they go to these hospice programs.
And here's the kicker. Dr. Oz says that in a legitimate hospice care, about 90% of the patients pass away within a 6-month enrollment period. But those fraudulent operations, 0%. Everybody lives because they were never dying in the first place. And this creates a secondary victim. When somebody gets enrolled into hospice without knowing, their regular doctors stop treating them.
How's this
Because
one,
if you're on
guys?
hospice care, you're supposed to be receiving end of life
7
care,
minutes.
not regular medical treatment. So these healthy people
I thought
suddenly
this
find
was,
themselves cut off from their physicians, wondering why
but
they
it
can't get
wasn't.
appointments.
This is a
It's a
new
double
guy.
crime, fraud against the taxpayers and
Sorry
medical
about that.
negligence of patients. Now, while we're talking about small-time criminals running ghost hospices, let's not forget corporate
good, though.
America is playing the same game, just with better lawyers. Kaiser Permanente just agreed to pay $556 million to settlement allegations that they've been gaming Medicare Advantage for years.
Well, a little birdie told me rates are taking a dip, which means that dream home won't be there forever.
This was not about the quality of care our members received. It involved a dispute about how to interpret the Medicare risk adjustment program's documentation requirements.
Kaiser's statement is pure corporate doublespeak. This was not about the quality of care our members received. It involved a dispute about how to interpret the Medicare risk adjustment program's documentation requirements. Translation, we got caught stealing, but we're going to pretend that it's just a paperwork disagreement. Here's what actually happened. The government alleges Kaiser pressured physicians to retroactively add 500,000 individual diagnosis codes to medical records. They would mine past medical histories, look at all the diagnosis, no matter how old or irrelevant, that could just justify higher Medicare payments. So if you came in for a routine checkup, Kaiser system would flag you and say that you had high blood pressure 10 years ago and add that diagnosis to your current visit, even though it wasn't discussed.
The problem here is a massive welfare state in California and in other states that is completely unfettered, without any real eligibility checks, without any real checks to make sure that our tax dollars are being spent wisely.
This is upcoding, artificially inflating how sick patients appear on paper to trigger particular higher payments with insurance companies. And Kaiser did this systematically across their entire network, generating hundreds of millions in fraudulent Medicare revenue. The $556 million settlement is the largest Medicare Advantage fraud case in history. But here's what should terrify you. If Kaiser, one of the most established healthcare systems in America, was running this scam for years, established is very loose here. How many other companies are doing the same thing that just haven't got caught yet? Now, let me show you just how sophisticated these fraud operations have become. In 2025, federal prosecutors took down a massive hospice fraud ring in San Fernando Valley that had built an entire empire. We're talking about identity theft infrastructure using foreign nationals as straw owners. The ringleader, Petros Fishidianaya, along with Juan Carlos Esparza and Caprice Soprania, I butchered those names completely, stole personal information from foreign nationals, people living overseas, who had no idea their identities were being used. They used these stolen identities to open up bank accounts, sign property leases, register cell phones, and interface with Medicare.
Hospices are paid by Medicare every day the patient is in care, from the day that they elect hospice care. So that's 7 days a week, including weekends. And that's regardless of the quantity or quality of services provided.
Why foreign nationals? Because they're beyond the reach of U.S. law enforcement. If investigators try to contact the quote-unquote owner of the fraudulent hospice company and that person lives in another country, good luck trying to get cooperation here. The criminals built a layer of protection that makes prosecution exponentially harder. And they didn't just stop with identity theft. They had a complete document forgery operation, creating fake IDs, fake checkbooks, credit cards, and names of these owners. When federal agents raided their residence, they found filing cabinets full of fraudulent documents for dozens of fake identities. identities. The group operated 4 sham hospice companies between 2019 and 2023, including one called House of Angels Hospice. They stole nearly $16 million from Medicare before getting caught. And once the money came in, they laundered it through shell companies, bought high-end vehicles, obviously, including a BMW and a $90,000 luxury car to disperse the funds and hide the money trail. So what's Trump's response? He's not just going after these criminals for healthcare fraud. He's hitting them with tax evasion charges as well. Attorney General Pam Bondi and Dr. Oz have launched the Fraud Tax Project to create dual prosecution strategy.
Well, we're not going to play these games anymore. We're not going to be intimidated by Democrats launching baseless slurs against Republicans for being racist. We're looking for fraud, and we're looking to make sure that our tax dollars are being stewarded wisely.
CMS is now collaborating with state tax authorities to catch operators who are committing both crimes simultaneously. And as of January 2026, they placed all newly enrollment hospices in California, Arizona, Nevada, and Texas under provisional period of enhanced oversight to stop the potential bleeding.
The goal, it says, to crack down on fraud targeting government programs, including nonprofits, federally funded assistance programs, and more. According to the White House, federal officials will work to identify and stop sophisticated fraud schemes across the nation, prosecuting when necessary.
Dr. Oz also noted that the tax fraud convictions are faster than traditional healthcare prosecutions. Instead of spending years building a complex Medicare fraud case, you can nail somebody on tax evasion in months and immediately revoke their ability to bill Medicare. It's a strategic shift that's going to accelerate enforcement dramatically. America, what we're witnessing is a systematic dismantling of a $4.3 billion criminal empire that Democrats allowed to flourish for years. While California regulators looked the other way, organized crime built an industrial scale fraud operation using stolen identities, ghost companies, and healthy patients enrolled in hospice without their knowledge. Dr. Oz and Trump aren't playing defense anymore. The Fraud Tax Project is hitting these criminals from multiple angles: healthcare fraud, tax evasion, money laundering, identity theft. Kaiser just paid $560 million for upcoding. The San Fernando Valley Ring just got dismantled for using foreign nationals as straw owners. And the 112 fake hospices registered at one address are about to get shut down. Working families were being crushed by higher taxes while billions get sucked out of the system by fraudsters. Trump's bringing radical transparency and victim-centered justice. The criminals had their run. Now it's time to pay. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would.
Keep an eye out on his videos. Okay, we got, I don't think I played these because it was a day old. Nick Shirley, 3 clips, I think. Michigan and somewhere else. Yeah, he's far away right now, I think. And then
feel about potentially becoming part of the United States. Donald Trump recently has been very persistent about the idea of making Greenland part of the United States, saying that the United States needs Greenland for national security purposes. Currently, Greenland is an autonomous territory of the Denmark Kingdom. However, most recently, the Prime Minister of Greenland has said that he wants to seek independence from Denmark, making this situation even more interesting. Greenland has key trading routes in the Arctic Circle for countries like Russia, China, Canada, the United States, making Greenland a pivotal spot in the talks of geopolitics. And this is not the first time the United States has tried to buy or acquire Greenland. In 1946, after World War II, the president at the time tried to buy Greenland for $100 million. Now let's go talk to the people here in Greenland. How do you guys feel about becoming part of the United States?
It's good.
Would you rather be a part of the United States or Denmark?
United States.
And you? United States or Denmark?
United States.
What makes you guys excited about potentially becoming a part of the United States?
McDonald's.
McDonald's.
We want fast food.
Is Greenland for sale?
No, we don't want McDonald's here. He will
Yeah,
take all our resources from our
you guys-
nature and just use it for money. Greenland is only for Greenland
But you guys are controlled by Denmark.
in some part.
Good or bad idea for Greenland to become a part of the United States?
USA and Greenland, I think it's okay.
It's good. Is Greenland for sale?
No, definitely not. And it will never be.
What if Donald Trump does buy Greenland somehow, some way?
He won't. Greenland is for the Greenlanders. And we don't want to be twice colonized.
And remember these two girls, as we will talk to them later in this video about how China has made their own attempts to gain territory inside of Greenland.
Do you think Donald Trump will buy Greenland?
No, we are not for sale, but understand him fully that he's protecting our right to self-determination. And he said he will tariff Denmark if they don't respect it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very good for Greenland. Denmark threatens us with taking away our right to health and education.
Really? So you wouldn't be that mad if Donald Trump did buy Greenland?
He can't. But we will certainly cooperate with the United States. We already do.
How much would you bet that Donald Trump does not buy Greenland?
My fortune.
Your fortune.
I don't want to be American. I don't want to be Dane.
So what do you want to see happen with Greenland?
I think it's natural what's going on. We've been working for self-determination for many years. We have experienced some pressure from the coming president from US, but that should not shock us. That should not shake us in our work and wishes to realize our self-determination. So it's not about Denmark, it's not about the US, it's about Greenland. Our problem is that we are situated geopolitical in...
Today I'm here in Nuuk, Greenland.
Part 2.
Vulnerable country, as there's only 57,000
Yeah.
citizens here.
But it doesn't matter how few or how many we are. This is our country, and it has been, we have taken care of this long before any people could live here.
Yeah.
That's part of our heritage, and we have our rights.
In the past 4 years, the United States has given over $200 billion to countries like Ukraine, Israel, whether that be through military aid or financial aid. $200 billion is a lot of money. Yeah. So that goes to show that we have a lot of money. If Donald Trump were to offer you guys $5 billion, and you guys have 57,000 residents here, each resident would get around $100,000. Would you guys become United States citizens for $100,000?
No, I think not. Not me.
What do you think about Donald Trump wanting to buy Greenland?
I think it's a joke.
It is interesting as somebody who's from the United States because he did campaign on a lot of things, but he never brought up the idea of buying Greenland or taking over the Panama Canal. So it's kind of a new idea right now. Why do you think Donald Trump wants to take Greenland?
I think it's only because of the base, Thule base, because he's afraid of somebody's going to use it if they're not.
Would you feel more secure knowing that you have the largest military in the world, that being the United States?
No. I don't want the military in Greenland. We don't have anything to do with war, and we will never have something to do with it.
So are you worried that if Donald Trump does buy Greenland, war could...
He cannot buy Greenland. I'm pretty sure.
And what would happen if the military of the United States did show up here on your shores? What would the reaction be of the Greenlanders?
I think people is going to be afraid because, like I said, Greenland have nothing to do with war. And we will never have something to do with war.
The Prime Minister of Greenland did say he is ready to talk with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Does that concern you at all?
Not at all. Because he's only saying it so if they want to expand on the Thule, because it's already written that they can expand and do whatever they want up there. So I'm not afraid of that.
Okay, so you're not afraid, even though your Prime Minister said he's ready to talk.
The middle of two big superpowers.
Greenland could be looked at as a very vulnerable country, as there's only 57,000 citizens here.
But it doesn't matter how few or how many we are. This is our country, and it has been, we have taken care of this long before any people could live here.
Yeah.
That's part of our heritage, and we have our rights.
In the past 4 years, the United States has given over $200 billion to countries like Ukraine, Israel, whether that be through military aid or financial aid. $200 billion is a lot of money. Yeah. So that goes to show that we have a lot of money.
And that was part 2. Get to part 3 and 4.
Greenland for $5 billion. That would give you around $90,000 or upwards of $100,000. Would you become a United States citizen for $100,000?
No, I wouldn't.
How do you feel about the United States wanting to buy Greenland?
It's ridiculous.
And why do you think it's ridiculous?
Because it's not for sale.
What would it take for you to want to become a part of the United States?
Nothing.
And why wouldn't you want to become part of the United States?
Maybe taxes, the healthcare system.
Greenland is very interesting because you guys are in the Arctic Circle and you guys are the largest island in the world, and you guys have the bridge between the United States, Canada, and Russia.
Yeah.
So do you think Donald Trump wants to buy Greenland in preparations if there's a World War III to break out?
Yeah, but the thing is, Greenland is a very peaceful place. I don't think it's fitting to get some weapons imported.
Okay, so that'd be kind of your fear, is that if Donald Trump were to buy Greenland, it might cause some tensions here in Greenland.
Yes, exactly.
What kind of tensions do you think? Can you elaborate on that?
Maybe we get aimed at from other countries.
What do you think about the United States buying Greenland?
No more Danish.
Why do you guys not like the Danish?
Liar.
How do you feel about being bought potentially by the United States?
I don't think we're going to be bought. Times have passed where you could buy other people in other states. You did that 100 years ago, not now.
So Greenland's not for sale?
No, definitely not.
And now that your prime minister is ready to talk with Donald Trump, are you worried about the United States buying Greenland?
No, not at all. I'm 68 years old, so I'm not worried.
What do you and the majority of Greenlanders think about Donald Trump?
As a human being, he's a little bit crazy maybe, but he's the most powerful in the world next after Putin and China.
Do you think Vladimir Putin is more powerful than Donald Trump?
No.
So would you say Donald Trump's the most powerful man in the world?
Yeah, U.S. is the most powerful country in the world.
Is Greenland for sale?
No. See, we live here. Trump cannot buy Greenland.
What will you do if he does buy Greenland?
I will ask Trump if he can kayak on his own without help. If he can buy. If he can't, he don't buy.
So if the United States were to buy Greenland and you were able to get $20,000, would you do it?
I will not say yes for money. For Greenland or money. I will just Greenland. We live in Greenland. He cannot buy this.
For 100.
No, I'm not afraid.
Say
Last part, and I got some breaking news.
$100,000, would you sell your country?
Yes.
But you said Greenland is not for sale, but you'd sell it for $100,000.
Money is money. will understand.
Do you think it would be better for you guys to become part of the United States versus being part of Denmark?
Of course, there's some benefits to America. We would have way bigger military, and we would be safe from invasions in case of a war or something. If the Third World War comes, I don't know how much it would matter with all the nuclear weapons and stuff. But there would probably be some Russians coming from Greenland to go to America and stuff as a vantage point.
Your prime minister did say he's ready to talk with Donald Trump about the situation. What do you think that means?
I think he wants to negotiate in other ways than selling Greenland. We are open to the outside world, but we don't want to sell. We want to negotiate and make money in other ways other than Denmark, in export ways.
Now with the conflicts that are across the world with Ukraine, Russia, China, Russia, and their involvement together, and Greenland has a pivotal location as far as the trading routes for these ships and for these countries. Can you understand why Donald Trump would want to buy Greenland to protect the United States from Russia?
I really do. We are really placed in a we're well placed in the geopolitical meaning. We're placed in the middle of everything with Russia and USA on both sides. And I just think, of course, I understand that he wants to buy us through the resources and the geopolitical way.
And China did try to build airports and give loans to Greenland, and they were trying to influence their way here in the Greenland as well. Would you guys rather have influence of China or the United States here?
None, neither. I do think it's a brilliant idea that we do negotiate with other countries, but not in the way of being bought. No one can buy us, and Greenland is for the Greenlanders.
Are you worried about being invaded by the U.S. military, as Donald Trump did say? That's not off the record when he did have a press conference the other day.
Of course we are.
I don't want this to sound like a threat, but here there are 57,000 people.
Yeah.
And in the United States, our military is much larger than 57,000 people.
I know, but we are part of Denmark, and Denmark is under NATO. And I'm sure in some way they will support us if it did happen, which I'm sure it won't.
Yeah, I'm not saying I want you guys to be invaded by any means. I don't want that to happen. I'm just throwing that out theoretically and to play devil's advocate with you guys. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting.
Okay. That was the latest. I got another set after we get the breaking news. Okay, where is it? Where is it? I gotta. Hang on a second. I gotta put it on Telegram here.
Innovations of the
This just came out. We had 11 people on board.
Pada pukul 07.49 penemuan besar badan pesawat, informasi dicurigai sebagai badan pesawat dan ekor pesawat di lereng di bagian selatan, bagian bawah lereng itu kalau dari puncak itu di bagian utaranya.
Okay, that was latest on that plane crash. KRL is on. Well, it looks like we got another one up today, Kay. I don't know if you want to take a look at it for later. YouTube lady. I don't know if it's a good one or not.
We can see the seeds of something different and new with this gathering, with the neighbors that have come together in the rapid response, with the community that showed up yesterday and kept the great Minneapolis tradition alive, which is that the Nazis do not march in this city. They bleed in this city. If we don't get it, shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down. Ice out, shut it down. Ice out, shut it down. Ice out, shut it down. Ice out, shut it down. Ice out, shut it down. Ice out, shut it down. Ice out, shut it down.
So that gives you a perspective here. Now you got the postal people. Apparently they're raiding some church today, like as far as protesters going into church. I'm looking more into this church thing. But yeah, it's just showing this craziness that continues to happen. I'm so sick of what's happening. I am English and I am sick of every country protesting.
Okay, that was an update.
The sun hasn't risen yet, but once it does here in Minnesota, it is likely that there will be more demonstrations today. We are entering week 3 of unrest here, and the clashes between law enforcement and protesters are showing no signs of slowing down. There was yet another tense day here yesterday. Outside of that ICE federal facility, law enforcement holding the line against angry protesters who can be heard screaming, "Kill yourself," and "Un-American" to law enforcement. The Washington Post is reporting the Pentagon has ordered about 1,500 active duty soldiers to prepare for possible deployment here to Minnesota if violence escalates. Now, Governor Tim Walz also mobilized the Minnesota National Guard yesterday. The Guard staged to support local law enforcement if needed, and it says it's ready to respond to locations across the metro area. Now, yesterday, protests continued outside the ICE detention center, and there was also a violent clash between counter-protesters at City Hall. President Trump has warned that he may use the Insurrection Act here in Minnesota, which would allow the federal government to use military troops to bring calm. Meanwhile, a statewide day of action is scheduled for this Friday. Activists are asking people not to attend work, school, or make purchases, and the St. Paul Federation of Educators is also asking members to get involved on Friday. The sun hasn't risen yet, but once it does.
Okay, update from that channel. Now I got the mini video. About 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Protocols in this letter right here, before James published his video, you can see that the Secret Service is telling all agents, don't be honeypotted. Like, yeah, she's not that into you, effectively. The letter states that you are sworn to secrecy, you have like major NDAs, you'll be put in prison if you share classified information, you have security clearances, and notes that this agent obviously has lost his access. He's on administrative leave. He might be prosecuted actually for doing this. So what exactly did he do? Well, one, he made being a Secret Service agent incredibly political by stating that he voted for Joe Biden and that he hates what President Trump is doing to like a fleeting romantic love interest. They're not sending their best. Here we go. Then the Secret Service agent did the worst thing that you could possibly do, which is shared classified information with some rando about where the vice president is, where his location is, and the details of his advance work. Here we go. Bro, she's just not that into you, man. It's not that into you. I don't understand, like, how James is able to get away with it, right? It's Jesse Pinkman. He can't keep getting away with it, but he does. And he's just so good. And quite frankly, James is the hero of the story. There's some people trying to make James the villain. They always will. But what James is doing is the kind of work that, like, an undercover should do in exposing major security lapses on the vice president's team. This is terrible. These kind of things could get the vice president killed. And we should all be celebrating James, as we do on this channel, for doing this, because now they know where some of the leaks are. What if this was, and I'll end with this. What if this was a nation state? What if this was not just James O'Keefe honeypot operation, but like somebody from China or Iran? And of course, they probably have all those. Those exist. So you have this, your agents are this sloppy. This is the best protective service in the world. Yeah, doubt it. Press X to doubt. Be sharper, be better. We are sick of seeing our presidents and our friends shot in the head. Secret Service obviously needs to step up their game. A memo's not going to do it. So stay safe out there. Pray for, acknowledge that this happened.
Okay, that was the first one.
Whether you like the guy or not, one thing you can guarantee with President Trump is he will make good on his promises. When he says he's going to tear down everything that Biden built, that's not an empty threat. It's pretty much a policy. And he's already proved that in a short amount of time. Within minutes of his inaugural speech, the CBP One cell phone app was shut down. This was a program you may remember that was created by the Biden administration and allowed more than 900,000 migrants to enter our country. So not only was it shut down, but existing appointments were also canceled. In fact, this distraught woman that you see on your screen, her appointment was scheduled for 1 p.m. on Inauguration Day, and she found out it was canceled just hours before her appointment. These images aren't the only thing showing the stark contrast between the two administrations. On Inauguration Day, we listened to the incoming president declare to end the weaponization of the Justice Department.
Lady.
All while just moments before, Biden was signing a preemptive pardon for not only his family, but also for members and staff of the January 6th committee. Liz Cheney, retired General Mark Milley, Adam Schiff, and Dr. Anthony Fauci are among some of those names that are now protected under Biden's pardons. I'm not really sure why anyone would need a preemptive pardon if they haven't done anything illegal. I would love to know what your thoughts are on this. Please leave them below in the comments. It's also worth noting, Biden made this move just moments before the inauguration began, leaving some to speculate that it was an effort to prevent Trump from being able to address it during the ceremony. The president did finally have a chance, though, to react a little later in the day. Take a listen.
I was surprised that President Biden would go and pardon his whole family, because that makes him look very guilty. You know, I could have pardoned my family. I could have pardoned myself, my family. I said, if I do that, it's going to make me look very guilty. I don't think I'd be sitting here, frankly.
Okay, so let me remind you now what Democrats were saying back in 2020 when Trump was about to leave office. Roll it.
Have you ever heard of somebody getting a preemptive pardon who was innocent of all crime? Who's just an innocent person? Have you ever heard of that? Just somebody getting a blanket pardon and they're an innocent person?
But no, I think that it's an effort not only to prospectively pardon people for things they have not yet been charged with and may never be charged with, but also it's the president's own family. It's people that have been covering up for the president in addition to his own family.
President's reportedly asking his staff whether he can issue preemptive pardons for himself, his family members, Rudy Giuliani. There's a simple answer: no. No, Mr. President, that would be a gross abuse of the presidential pardon authority.
So do you think there's any chance Adam Schiff is disappointed that he was included in the administration and the one that preceded?
Okay, I got one of her, but I'm going to play. Kay Aaron has a interview, 24 minutes. So it's a good one. She had 5,000 views on it. FBI, or read out a word, sorry.
Inverted commas, because they're not, who are making life for law-abiding citizens and ICE, people trying to do their jobs to keep these cities safe. So please enjoy this conversation, and I'll see you on the other side. Jonathan Gilliam, thank you so much for coming on the Erin Molan Show. You're utterly brilliant, and it's a real pleasure to have you. So thank you.
Thank you, Erin. And you're brilliant as well. Thank you for
Bless
having me.
you. Mutual Appreciation Society, and I have great taste, clearly, by getting you on, as do many other slightly more reputable networks. But I'll get there. I'll get there. Jonathan, I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things. You're a former Navy SEAL, FBI agent. Let's start domestically in America and talk about Minnesota and this ramping up of protests. And I say protests, that doesn't quite cover it. They're violent mobs essentially attacking ICE. What have you made of the situation, particularly over the past week with a couple of incidents?
Well, first of all, that's one thing I like about your reporting, and when you give analysis something, you hit things that are spot on, because this really is not a protest. This is not civil disobedience. This is definitely not the Boston Tea Party, where they have an actual reason to go out and do some mischief to show, that they stand against something. These people have no idea what they're protesting about. They think they do, but or who they're trying to defend. I mean, think about it. They're defending murderers, rapists, child predators, all these people who are in this country illegally, and really not American citizens the way that the mayor there and the governor in that state have portrayed it to be. So this is important for the world to understand, is that what you're seeing play out in Minnesota, we've seen it all over our country, but it's leftist. And many of us were screaming this years before Trump was even elected. I used to host for Sean Hannity on the radio right after I got out of the FBI. And that's where I did a deep dive into the Red Green Alliance, communism and fundamental Islam. And you'll see how they evolve and kind of roam around the world together, separate, but working together a lot of the times. That's why you see the same people protesting for this thing against ICE, also protest in the name of the Palestinians and those types of things. And none of them have ever been anywhere or associated with the people that they're protesting for. But I think the bottom line is, Aaron, is that these people are organized. They're not just a small group of people that live in Minneapolis. There are people that are organized. They are funded. They are force multipliers, where they go in with a group like a special forces group, and then they end up using the indigenous folks like special forces in another country. We're talking about the people that live there, and they ratchet things up in an organized and violent fashion. And when you look at the term of terrorism, the use of force, intimidation, and violence for a political aim, they reached that threshold. And when you look at the definition of insurrection, they've reached that threshold as well. And I think President Trump would be in his right to send out the troops now and go against these people, because we are not looking at normal citizens who are peace loving and feel as though the federal government has overstepped their boundaries. That is not what this is all about. It's about obstructing and eventually overthrowing the government.
If they'd like to see a protest really on behalf of human rights and against tyranny, they should look to Iran. None of them are protesting for the Iranians. And I want to ask you about Iran soon, but sticking with this now, you mentioned President Donald Trump sending in the troops. What would that look like? Would they just go in and clean it up? It would be swift, no nonsense, no holds barred, essentially?
Well, so what I would like to see is that they use the military as a blocking force, and not just to block people out. But I believe that all of these individuals they roam the country. They're moved from point to point, like I said, funded, equipped, supplied, trained, and organized. So I would like to see the military use in an unconventional manner. So wherever ICE is going, that the military is used to block those people in, and then they're all arrested for being a part of an insurrection and identified. And I think if we didn't just
19 minutes.
Flood the area with military or ICE, if we also flooded that area with DOJ attorneys, what they could do is start a processing. Because I know in the FBI in New York, when we would do a large-scale mob arrest or something like that, we would have the attorneys there in the processing area, where we would take them through. They would be processed by us, and then they would be identified, and basically everything except for the judge going and doing their first appearance would be done there, and then they're pushed over and they go over to the courthouse and go through their first appearance.
Yeah.
I think we should have a flood of DOJ attorneys. The military should be used as a blocking force, and then all of these individuals should not allow them to escape that area, but they should be arrested, and they should be identified. And if there's no charge that they can stick, now they'll know their names. But if the charges do stick,
100%.
if they do stick, Aaron, this is what's important is there will be too many of these people being processed for their groups to get ahead of with their leftist attorneys.
I think that's absolutely brilliant. And you're right. It feels like at the moment, no one's paying a price for any of this. And it's not about freedom of speech. It's not about your right to protest. As we ascertained, and we both agree, they ain't protesters.
Right.
They are criminal agitators. And more so, they're obstructing law enforcement in their line of work.
Law enforcement that we, the citizens of this country, agreed to, that our representatives agreed to, and that is needed because the leftists who get in charge, as you can see, this has happened
The
in your
mayor
country.
is appalling, Jonathan.
Yeah.
What is he on?
I don't know, probably the same thing that the people that are out there raging. Yesterday, I saw a very large, overweight lady with a cane somehow be able to fight against the ICE agents, fall on the ground and get up. So she's either faking it or she's on something. And my contacts say that these people are on methamphetamine or speed or something that they're being given that amps them up past the point of sanity.
Yeah. A lot of them don't need help to get past the point of sanity, but I know exactly what you're saying. I wanted to ask you, Joe Rogan made some comments a couple of days ago, and he kind of insinuated that the majority of Americans now look at ICE and see them as, these masked thugs. I disagree. I give more credit to Americans. I think most people see this for what it is. And I look at the number of people who voted in President Trump gives me faith that most people in your country have common sense. I don't think anyone's looking at this and thinking ICE are the thugs, apart from those who want to weaponize that idea and that narrative, and those on the left who are bat beat crazy. What do you think?
I think Joe Rogan, while I think he has great intentions, I'll give him that. And he seems to be a pretty smart individual, but he's a libertarian. And libertarians, in my view, are almost worse for this nation than leftists, because they get in the way with their nonsensical and overthought, argumentative comments and bloviating. They get to a point where they make comments just because they have a platform. And so they don't really come to a conclusion in their comments. It's just their opinion. And I think that's probably what happened here. I don't know anyone, and I know a fair amount of people. I don't know anybody who is against ICE doing their job and in this manner that think that they're masked thugs. These guys wouldn't even have masks on if it wasn't for the left doxing
targeting
them.
their families.
Yeah, in their families, yes.
Salesforce is an incredibly important and strategic investment for Indeed.
It was sort of a light bulb.
That's insanity. I want to move on to the situation in Iran at the moment, and obviously evolving, changing a lot. We've just seen what happened in Venezuela, one of the most incredible military operations. You're a former SEAL. Before we get on to Iran, I'd love to get your reaction to what just seemed like absolute perfection, the way that it was carried out. What goes into something like that?
Well, first of all, you have to have a leader. And I want people to understand, I'm a big supporter of President Trump. However, I don't look at President Trump as a savior, and I'm not a sycophant. I think the individual that he is an incredible leader. He has a great work ethic, but he has this incredible sense of where force is needed at the time that it's needed. I mean, if it was me, I probably would have jumped the gun 1,000 times for many of these things before he does. But with Venezuela, about 11 years ago, I was down there with Vice Media doing a protection detail for them. And when they found out I was a former FBI agent, myself and the film crew, we were detained for about 3 hours. And it was a very intense situation. Then they followed us the rest of the time we were there. I was there for 3 days. And one of the things I got to see was, one, the nasty and deadly nature that their government officials have, but two, how they took a nation that was amazing. I mean, amazing and beautiful people. And they took it to a level where what the mob does is when they get into something like a business, they will burn it straight down into the ground and collect all the money they can. They don't really care about the people that work there. So Maduro and Chavez before him, they took that nation and drove it straight in the ground. So middle-class people are now poorer than people that live in the inner city here in this country. And danger and violence beyond belief. 25 murders in some of these barrios, 25 murders a week. The country has over 25,000 murders a year that go unsolved. All the while, they could be one of the richest nations in the world, just like Saudi Arabia or anybody else, because of the amount of oil that they have. So I think the president doing what he did was incredible for that reason, but also because Venezuela is where the Iranians, the Chinese, and the Russians have a foothold on this region, along with the spread of narco, terrorist, and violence. And so people have to understand this is not just about oil. It is about the oil, because they're funding all these nations with that oil. Also, we used to buy oil from them, and that was a big supplier. So it is about that, but it's also about the people of Venezuela, about this region falling to Russia, China, and Iran. And I think when you look at the totality of the circumstances, I don't think my personal opinion is that I like what we did. I love it. It was flawless. Because they trained, all the forces trained to be that way, and that shows you how great we are. However, that country is not an ideologue country. It's not a religious based country, and the people want to be free. I would like to see our troops, our agencies go further and get rid of all of that top echelon and help the people of Venezuela start over. And I feel the same way about Iran.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to Iran. And just on the oil, I made the point, I couldn't care less if America hoards it, drinks it, bathes in it. If it stops the enemies of the West getting access to it and using it to cause harm, then could not care less. Iran, care deeply, clearly, as you do as well. There have been a lot of red lines drawn. A lot of those have been crossed. We still haven't seen any military action from the US physically. What do you think is going to occur? What do you think should occur?
It's such a sticky situation because if the United States gets involved too quickly, even though thousands of people are dying, I mean, I look at this the same way I looked at our own revolution against the British, where the French eventually got involved. And in a lot of ways, France was a savior for the United States. And had France not got involved when they did, who knows how this could have gone, with the United States. So I look at also World War II and how the United States was very reluctant to get involved in the things and probably should have gotten involved a lot sooner. However, they let that society in that region take care of much of it until we get involved where we push it over the edge. And I love free people, and I love the thought of the Iranians becoming free again. They were free in 79, and stepping in too quickly. It's hard for people to understand this, but if you step in too quickly, you can actually hurt the process of captive men becoming free. And it's their fight. They need to continue in that fight. But I think eventually either we support them some way, shape, or form through supplies, or we go in and make very specific direct hits to further their cause, which is what happened with us in the Revolutionary War.
Yeah, look, it's again, everything is complex, isn't it? And I probably, like you was talking about Venezuela, you would have wanted to just go straight in. The thought of people on the ground there dying makes me feel physically ill. I think they've shown time and time again that they're willing to give their life for freedom. And we know that President Trump has given them enormous amounts of hope with posts, not just directly to them, but about the situation. What worries me now is other Arab nations who have come in and are having their say. And I feel like a deal with the Ayatollah, we can't do another deal. It would give him another life and another shot at making their lives hell. I don't know what the solution is.
I think there's more going on than we as civilians know. Okay. Otherwise, Iran, as we saw with Israel attacking them, and then Israel, when they finally said, all holds are off, we're going full speed ahead, they demolished Hamas. They pretty much demolished Hezbollah, which is those are Iran. That's how Iran fights. And then they took the fight to Iran, and they showed that Iran is a paper tiger when it comes to conventional warfare. When it comes to proxies and the unethical behavior of sticking fighters in with schools and hospitals, Iran excels at that because they're unethical enough to do that. When it comes to conventional warfare, they're terrible. And so the people, when we got involved and we bombed over there, the people saw that as this is a time to strike because it showed them that the regime is not as powerful as they say. But I think the one criticism I can have of that is that I believe we could have gone further. The nuclear program, we struck that, but I think we could have demolished their military in a lot of ways. But here's where I think there may be more going on. I don't think Iran stands by itself. I think there's other nations, other powerful, wealthy groups that are involved with Iran and prop Iran up. Otherwise, how could they have even existed if they were that weak? I mean, it took literally 2 weeks for Israel to go in and decimate a lot of their stuff, and then for us to go in one night, and they weren't a threat anymore. So I think there's more going on there as far as pumping them up and who's benefiting from it.
Get ahead of lead. It's a new initiative to help families reduce lead in their drinking water. Here's what you can.
Yeah, I agree with that entirely. And I would say to people, who think, oh, it's, I want America first. This regime has its evil tentacles in almost every bit of destruction and terror globally. It has the blood of Americans on its hands. It had a bounty out on your president. For people in Australia, it was solely responsible for the blowing up of a synagogue. We kicked out its ambassador. I don't think we should have ever had the ambassador because it's not a legitimate regime. But I mean, everyone in the world who believes in the things that you and I do would benefit from the end of this regime. But it's how best to go about that in a way that best serves the people on the ground who are giving their lives. And
can I say one other thing, Aaron?
Yeah, we pray
about
for them.
this is that when you look at all three of the things that we've talked about so far, the people that are rioting in Minneapolis that are committing these crimes and insurrection. When you look at Venezuela and that regime and how they demolished the life that these middle class and comfortable people had in that nation, and when you look at Iran and for how the world was terrorized by this myth for since 1979, many years, and now the people there have suffered because of that. What you're looking at is that I use this term a lot, but they're paper tigers. The people in Minneapolis, they have attorneys behind them, they have funding behind them, and they know how to build an image through propaganda and small acts. And then when we don't stand up to them, they get more powerful. The same thing happened in Venezuela with Chavez, and the same thing happened in Iran. And I think what President Trump has shown is that by doing these operations that he's done, he's shown that it's a thin brick wall, and it has no mortar. And if it looks like a big brick wall, but it's only this wide. And if you kick it, it'll fall.
And that's why I think just one sweet little strike from our good friends in America at the right places at the right time would be very helpful. But I am nowhere near as seasoned as you in this space. Finally, do you have hope? I mean, I look around the world at the moment and I think, oh my Lord, I could not fight any harder. I know people like you could not fight any harder. Every time I start to feel like there's hope, I get sorely disappointed. Mind you, America's much more hopeful. But what are your thoughts?
The Bible tells us that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. And I truly believe.
Can you say that again for me? Say that again for me. I want to really listen.
Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen.
I love that.
When we look at President Trump, there's never been a leader in our lifetime like this man. And while I think he was proven before he got in that he's an expert at business, but also at monitoring situations And where most people fall backwards, even when he got knocked down, he just stepped forward and he continued to climb and to promote and to push forward. He's a great father. He's raised good, ethical, clean people who aren't like these characters that are out there, the Wall Street protesters, some of who I met years ago when I was in the Bureau, who are nasty, rich kids who smell terrible and have every iPhone product that you can have, right? So my hope or my faith is in God, and I believe that President Trump is anointed in a way that his decisions are being guided for timing and effect. And so the substance of the things I hope for is not just what looks good or feels good. I think that there's proof here when you look at how he acts and reacts that he has an upper hand. And so the evidence of things that aren't seen of what could come, I think he has the ability to choose when to do these things. My only worry is that people around him that are politically minded will often get in the way of his ability to make these sound decisions when they need to be made, because politically they're scary. But I don't think he has
I feel like
I don't think he has a small brick wall around him. I think he has an iron wall around him. And I think if the political people stepped back and said, you know, everything he does, it's unconventional. There may be a reaction, but there's no action by the opposition that really does anything. So let's let him do what needs to be done.
Oh. 100%. Here. Beautifully said. You're amazing. Thank you so much. Where can my audience read your books, listen to your podcast, find you?
Well, let's see here. I get the book. I thought I had a copy of it.
Oh, you just happen to have them handy.
I don't have a
How
copy of it right here with me. Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival. That is the book, and it shows people how to look at themselves, their lives, their homes, their churches, their countries from an attacker's point of view, so that you can figure out how to basically surveil yourself and build a target package on you, so that you can then turn around and effectively eliminate vulnerabilities or mitigate those vulnerabilities where you can't eliminate them. And so, you know, take the beach there in Australia that was hit. If people had this mindset, they could have escaped a lot of those things or been aware that it's a possibility. And that's the way that this book helps you to see things from the attacker, so you can turn around and be the defender. And
that's
they can find that on Amazon, everywhere else. And then I'm all over social media, Jonathan T. Gilliam. You'll see the beard. There's another Jonathan Gilliam out there that's a social media builder or whatever with a beard, but you'll see the difference. One's masculine, one's not.
Jonathan, brilliant. Thank you so much for your time, and really appreciate you joining us here on the Erin Mullins Show.
Thank you very much, and keep doing your work as well.
Legend. Oh, and by the way, I've spent some time with Lara and Eric Trump, and I can assure you they do not smell. So you're spot on. His children are clean.
Amazing, amazing people.
They are. Yeah, he's amazing. He does not.
Okay, that was a great interview, I thought. She had a big outing on that video. Good stuff there. So we got 3 5-minute videos. Oh, not that one. I just saw this video.
A woman has an average of 80 seconds.
Woman. Can't believe what they're doing now.
Pençeleri bu katillerin kan içmeye alışmış gırtlağını sıkacak ve bu sınıf. Çok sağ ol ve sizin akıbetiniz yerlerde sürünmek olacak. Sizin akıbetiniz çiğnenmek olacak. Sizin akıbetiniz katil İsrail et. Allahu Ekber. Tekbir. Allahu Ekber. Kahrolsun İsrail. Kahrolsun İsrail. Kahrolsun Amerika. Kahrolsun İsrail. Kahrolsun Amerika. Kahrolsun İsrail. Kahrolsun Amerika. Ve yükselttik. Burada büyük şeytan Amerika ve Siyonist İsrail karşısında kendinin feryadını yükselttik. Burada emperyalist Amerika ve Siyonist İsrail
Tabii İran'daki, çünkü sürekli İran'da bir kargaşa olması için ya Trump İran halkına sesleniyor, size özgürlük getireceğiz diyor. Ya Netanyahu İran halkına sesleniyor, size özgürlük getireceğiz diyor. Bu zamana kadar biz nerede gördük ki Amerika'nın ve İsrail'in bir ülkeye özgürlük getirdiğini? Orta Doğu'ya bakıyoruz, Irak'a bakıyoruz, Suriye'ye bakıyoruz. Amerika buralara hep demokrasi, özgürlük getiriyoruz diye geldi. Kandan başka hiçbir şey getirmedi. Bugün de aynısını İran için planlıyorlar ama başaramayacaklar.
Tamamen Amerika'dır. Yani ben kendim de geçen hafta İran'daydım. Yeni geldim. Hani böyle medyanın da anlattığı kadar değil de yani sakin ama yine de Amerika'nın eli var.
İncirlik, kürecik kapatılsın.
Terrible.
Katil ABD Orta Doğu'dan defol.
Kısa bir şeyde eylem gördüm. Bir 40 kişi tarafından eylemler falan vardı. Sloganlar atılıyordu. İşte yani o kadar abarttığı kadar yoktu yani.
Haklı nedenler olmakla beraber büyük oranda, büyük ihtimalle, büyük bir etki olarak, büyük bir etken olarak Amerika ve İsrail'in bu konuda girişimleri olduğuna inanıyorum. Yani bu Amerika ve İsrail'in doğasına aykırı bir şey değil.
What country was that? Anybody know? So let me know on this guy coming up here. I'm playing his 10 minutes. He's a new guy, and I don't know if he's good or bad. Is this Big Daddy Ed?
Overlord 2026. This is breaking news and in addition to what I posted yesterday. Pam Bondi fired the 6 Minnesota prosecutors that resigned. They resigned in protest because we don't want to investigate this stuff, that it's bad, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because it's wrong and it's unethical. She fired them. More importantly, I want folks to understand there's a term called astroturfing. What the Minneapolis prosecutors or the office of the U.S. attorney in Minneapolis
Is he
was
okay?
instructed by the Department of Justice to do.
Sounds good.
Those prosecutors were to investigate and target their investigation
He's a new
into
guy.
specifically why Miss Good and her, I guess, wife or whatever, her companion, were in Minneapolis doing this, I guess, obstruction all day long. And basically, they were there for a couple of days. But why were they there? They have a child. Hundreds and hundreds of protesters. Why are they protesting? What's going on? This is not spontaneous. These protests are orchestrated, and it's the use of astroturfing to hide the fact that they're well organized. Listen to me. These prosecutors that resigned in protest were fired because they were going to uncover.
Follow him.
If they investigated it like she wanted, Pam Bondi wanted them to do, they would have uncovered a massive, corrupt blue state cartel of thousands of officials and thousands of appointed officials that are funding this. Listen to me. And taxpayer money, NGOs, corporations that are funding these protests. Where do these people come from? Apparently, Miss Good and her companion came from out of town, right? How do they support themselves? Are they on welfare? Do they have jobs? Hundreds and hundreds of people are out there in the middle of the night. What are they doing during the day? This is funded. And here's the thing I want to tell you. I'm going to use the word astroturfing. Listen to me, and I'm going to explain it to you. Astroturfing is the deceptive practice of hiding the sponsors of an orchestrated message or organization to make it appear as though it originates from and is supported by unsolicited grassroots participants. Now, stay with me. This is very, very interesting. While the term astroturfing often evokes images of corporate lobbying or political media manipulation, its function as a mechanism for manufacturing consent transcends liberal democracies. Stay with me. In their foundational work, Manufacturing Consent, this is the book, Edward Herman and Noam Chomsky. Noam Chomsky, ladies and gentlemen, is an ultra-Marxist professor anarchist that set this whole thing, ruin our universities. But they are those two gentlemen who wrote this book, Manufacturing Consent, argued that power is reproduced not merely through censorship, but through the orchestration of discourse. Listen, the orchestration of discourse, where the appearance of grassroots consensus is shaped by elite interest. This book is called Manufacturing Consent by Herman and Chomsky, The Political Economy of the Mass Media. This is about hostile social manipulation to get you to the point where you're so confused, you're so destabilized, you'll just give your consent to get back to normal. This is hostile manipulation, hostile social manipulation on an industrial scale. And these prosecutors, like I said, they didn't want to go down that rabbit hole. Basically, Miss Bondi was directing them to go and find out why was Miss Good and her associate and her companion and many of these other people, why were they there? Dig into that. And this comes from the White House. This comes from the President of the United States, Donald Trump. These people are well financed. And here's the thing I'm going to tell you. Many of the people that are protesting are part of unions. Not so much the AFL-CIO, CalPERS, SEIU, AFSCME, the Teachers Association, American Federation of Teachers. These are basically ultra Marxist anarchists that want to upset this whole dynamic. Here's the thing I want to give you, and I'm going to leave you with this. This is about hostile social manipulation on an industrial scale that you can't imagine, and is financed by many of these organizations, NGOs. Let me put it to you this way. There's 1.5 million nonprofits in this country. 1 million of them are left of center, okay? Of that 1 million that are left of center, about 300,000 of them are ultra Marxist anarchist organizations that get donations, grants in the in the hundreds of billions of dollars in donations. And the 501c4 organizations, they don't have to divulge their donors. And that's where a massive amount of money comes from and goes out to and pays for these people. You can see on social media that they're getting paid to protest. This is what Pam Bondi wanted those prosecutors to do, is to investigate why these protesters are there and how are they functioning? How do they eat? Did you see what Nick Shirley did? Like 6 months ago, when he was investigating many of these protests, they literally had thousands and thousands of dollars of, I believe it was in Portland, they had canopies and they had boxes and boxes and tables filled with boxes with toothpaste, not canned goods, but snacks, food, water, etc. All this is being financed on a major, major scale. But more importantly, this is what Pam Bondi did, and she fired these guys, these prosecutors that we're resigning in protest. Had to, you're fired. This, ladies and gentlemen, what's going to be one of the things I wanted to say is the wheels of justice turn very slow. Why? Because when our money, our tax dollars, go to these Department of Justice and these U.S. Attorney's Office in any particular state, they want to utilize that money and make that money count. They have to thoroughly investigate and put a case together that they will win and get the desired result. If they don't get the desired result, there's going to be hell to pay because they didn't get the desired result. What's the desired result? Exposing the fraud, the cartels, the actual people, and bringing them to justice and arresting them. Now, here's the thing I want to say: there's been multiple arrests. You don't hear that. It's through it's through hostile social manipulation and censorship. Even though censorship is not a big part of it, keeping information from you. In Minnesota, they've already arrested 100 people, not so much elected officials, but 100 people that were part of this fraud in the billions of dollars. Justice is coming. You just got to be patient. Let the investigators and let the U.S. Attorney's Office do their job. Things will get exposed, and you will see, and you're going to be shocked. Watch what happens. We will win this war. Please go to preservingamericaepac.com. Watch our documentaries about the war being waged on our country. Bye-bye.
That guy's good. I'm glad I found him. All right, the last two will be 5 minutes. Back at 6.
A perverted bagman for the modern British Empire. Let's start with some quick, startling facts. I'm relying on the book, One Nation Under Blackmail by Whitney Webb, which is amply sourced and documented, and on the research of Mike Benz, who I trust. Epstein's story begins with the elite Dalton School in New York City. where even as a very young man, Epstein was hired and tracked for an intelligence career. Former Attorney General Bill Barr's father, Donald Barr, ran the school after serving in the OSS. At Dalton, Epstein taught math and physics to the children of Manhattan's elite without having any college degree. During that time, he was also spotted frequently at the mansion of the top British financier, Sir James Goldsmith. From Dalton, he went to Bear Stearns on Wall Street, specializing in what are called, quote, esoteric financial products and tax avoidance for wealthy clients, training on the job. He worked directly for Ace Greenberg, the firm's head. If you read about the 2008 financial collapse, Ace and Bear Stearns led the way with their insane derivatives bets and esoteric and worthless mortgage-backed securities fabricated in large part at their City of London office. After Bear Stearns, Epstein began working with a very dirty Saudi arms dealer, Adnan Khashoggi, who financed the Iran-Contra scandal during the Reagan administration here and was a major asset of both MI6 and the CIA. Epstein met Khashoggi through the man named as Epstein's mentor, Sir Douglas Leese, who was a very big British defense contractor and MI6 agent then involved in trafficking arms from China to Iran. Leese was also involved in the British arms deal for oil with the Saudis. That transaction created a black operation slush fund to finance radical Islamic terrorism. Epstein also brokered a deal to transfer ownership of the CIA's 2 airlines to companies he set up in Ohio. So you see, he is completely enmeshed at the highest levels of U.S. and British intelligence in operations these agencies will do anything to protect. These guys don't write things down and file them or send files over to the FBI and DOJ. Any knowledge that exists rests with Epstein's case officers at the CIA, at MI6, and the Mossad, and their notes and phone calls. By all accounts, Epstein's chief skill was tax avoidance and laundering illegal money through Britain's offshore island banks for foreign states and wealthy clients. The business depends on very trusting clients. Blackmailing them through sex would end that relationship. Providing sexual services with minors as a perk, on the other hand, to trusted clients is a very different matter. By 1987, Epstein was handling the billions of Leslie Wexner, the owner of the limited department stores and Victoria's Secret. Leslie Wexner's previous tax avoidant man had just been shot in a mob hit when Epstein took over. Wexner, in turn, was a key player in a group called MEGA, composed of U.S. and Canadian Jewish billionaires funding Israel and engaging in Israeli intelligence here. Many MEGA members, like Max Fisher of Detroit and the Bronfmans of Canada, also worked with the CIA and the mob.
I'll be back.
Epstein's other major client was Robert Maxwell, the father of Ghislaine Maxwell. He was an MI6 and Mossad agent who died mysteriously falling off of his yacht. Israel gave him a state funeral for services rendered. And then there are the British royals through Prince Andrew, whose relationships to Epstein caused a major scandal. By the time of his initial arrest for pederasty, Epstein was a full-fledged member of the Council on Foreign Relations, the British Empire's U.S. outpost, the Trilateral Commission of David Rockefeller, and a trustee of Rockefeller University. He had major advisory roles in the Clinton administration and was advising everyone from Jamie Dimon and J.P. Morgan Chase to Mohammed bin Salman in Saudi Arabia to Elon Musk about tax avoidance and financial opportunities in the empire's criminal offshore money havens. That background is why his first prosecutor, Alex Acosta, told the Trump transition team that he was told to go easy on him because he, quote, belonged to intelligence. Focus on the sex part of Epstein's enterprise, and you miss the forest for the trees here in terms of the crimes of the empire, like deindustrializing our country, hooking millions on dope, letting drug cartels and organized crime run rampant, and killing thousands of innocent Americans and millions of foreign citizens in endless wars. Sex trafficking, you say? What about the 300,000 missing children who came into the country under Biden and who President Trump is now trying to find and rescue? Now, so first, let's talk about how.
Okay, I saw one lady on TikTok. I got a couple of photos I want to read. Before we do the last video. A wise man said, be careful who you let on your ship, because some people will sink the whole ship just because they can't be the captain. Tim, do you hear that? Just joking. And that's one for Tim, right? And one of the greatest threats to America is the fact that our school system is not teaching the next generation morals, American exceptionalism, free enterprise, the Constitution, the dangers of socialism are all, or the value of hard work. I got a couple more I'm trying to find. And we'll get to the last video. We need to stop watching football right now. Soccer is the most popular sport in the world. With over 3 billion fans spreading across the globe, you can see exactly why. So this is American are a step closer to scoring checks for AT&T dark. This one I'll let you guys read. This one will be the last one I'll read, and we'll do the last video. And this might be important, because I don't understand it, but but it's important. So I don't know if it's safe to read. You want me to read it? I will, but I don't know if I'm allowed to read this or not. Can you guys see all that okay? Okay. Last video coming up. Back at 6. I think it's the Trish video. I'm going to play. Oh, wait. Did we play this one already?
Not to the re-engineer the healthcare market. Here he is.
I can't remember.
It's going to be a tremendous, it is
I don't
a
think I
tremendous
have.
plan. It's called the Great Healthcare Plan. And we're going to get tremendous reductions, as you know, through, if you look at medicines and prescription drugs, they're going to come down by numbers that have never been seen before. And we're doing that by most favored nations. Other nations, whoever pays the lowest in the world, that's what we're going to pay. Right now, we're paying sometimes 10 times higher than other nations. So we have favored nations. That's been approved. Other nations have, for the most part, agreed to it. And they had no choice. Otherwise, we were going to put tariffs on them. So the healthcare plan that we're coming, the money's going to be paid directly to the people. So it goes directly, not to the companies, not to the insurance companies. It's going to go directly to the people, and the people are going to buy their own health care. They'll get much better health care at a much reduced price.
Because guess what? You're interjecting some market competition. I mean, gosh, I feel like he sounds like me. What have I been saying on this show for months? The drug prices are too high, for example. And that's because, well, you got a lot of middlemen in there working to make sure that we're paying the highest prices, for goodness sakes. And it's not right that every other country in the world gets a much better deal. And yet we Americans, who, by the way, support all this R&D, are winding up having to pay the most. It's crazy. And this is such a huge cost on people, right? You guys know this. I mean, when we talk about inflation, and it's good that the numbers are coming down, healthcare costs have not come down. And I ask you why. You know why? Because you got the stupid government in there with good old Barack Obama and his Obama healthcare plan that has driven these costs even more astronomically higher than they were before. And this is an important issue to people. People know that all of these companies, including the drug companies, including all of these big pharma companies, they have their hand in the cookie jar, and they are doing everything they can to keep costs high because it works for them. It doesn't work for us. It works for them. And so this is a poll. If you see it on the screen, we had John McLaughlin, who's the president's pollster, on the show the other day. He came out with a brand new poll, and this one was fantastic. 73% of voters, these are all voters, guys. These are not just Republicans. These are all voters. Okay. So this is how you bridge the gap. I hope 73% of voters blame Big Pharma for high prescription costs, high prescription drug prices. 85% are concerned Big Pharma backed government intervention would increase costs. 80% believe Big Pharma is behind the proposals. This is a very good poll. John is the best. Only the best for you guys, right? So I think this is important data to consider when you think about we're coming up on midterms, and this is going to be really critical. It's going to be a key issue. Healthcare costs matter. And so what the president puts forward is really important. And me, together with Conservatives for Lower Healthcare Costs, want you to go check out pharmawindfall.com. We appreciate the support of Conservatives for Lower Healthcare Costs here on the Trish Regan Show, because they are working alongside the president, congratulating the president on all he's doing to try and lower these costs. And you can learn more about how you're being taken advantage of and how you can stop it there at pharmawindfall.com. So go check that out today. Meanwhile, I'll tell you this, the other big thing that they got to keep in mind is that if you can discover this fraud, think about the success of Doge that we started to see, right? USAID, all that news being blown wide open. And now we're learning that Minnesota is home to all kinds of fraud. There are reports that California has even more. And this is the hard reality that Ilhan Omar and her cronies just don't want to accept.
Of the 87 people charged, all but 8 are of Somali descent. And that has added to the spotlight being put specifically on your community. Why do you think this fraud was allowed to get so widespread?
Well, I want to say, this also has an impact on Somalis because we are also taxpayers in Minnesota.
This one just came
we
out.
also could have benefited from the program and the money that was stolen. And so it's been really frustrating for people to not acknowledge the fact that we're also as Minnesotans, as taxpayers, really upset and angry about the fraud that has occurred.
I'm laughing at the last Boy Scout. No, you aren't. Hey, that was a close and tight shot, right? Up close and personal here on the Trish Regan Show. Listen, guys, it is so good to see you. We get a lot more content heading your way over the weekend. Please make sure you subscribe to the show. Please make sure you hit all those alerts. Go and double check. Make sure you are subscribed. We're going to have a lot more coming for you this.
Okay, a lot more intel from her. She's been coming out with good stuff. Okay, that's show number 1, you guys. Quite a bit of stuff out. A lot. I'm saying I hope I won't run out of energy here, but be okay. Get back at 6 o'clock, 5:45. Have a good rest of your Sunday. And okay, Tim and Lucy. Lucy's out there shoveling snow. Careful out there, Lucy. And we'll bless. Remember, please hit the like. Subscribe to the backup channels, please, in the description box. Stay safe, stay strong, keep the faith, and never give up. Signing off till this evening, tonight, guys. Chico and Dude.